course. The textbook for this course is The Devil's Pulpit. Still, it's going to change. Very, very soon, we'll be into a new book. We are on page 326, the lecture on St. Matthew. And we'll finish it, not this lecture, not this class, but perhaps in 3 classes. We'll finish it 2 or 3, I think more like 3, maybe 4. Depends on how it goes down. All right, so Shalawama and Islam Moors, let's begin. No summary. I've got about 1 hour to get this lecture in. If I have energy, I'm gonna come back in about 5 or 6 hours. That's my goal. Okay, so hopefully if I can do that for 2 or 3 days in a row, we'll finish this in 2 or 3 days and we will start our new book. All right, so top of page 326, let's begin. Not till the days of the interference of our Protestant and dysenterian preachers in the publication and circulation of Bibles and Testaments. Isn't that interesting? He says Bibles and Testaments. So he's talking about medieval times, right? Not till the days of the interference of our Protestant and dysenterian preachers in the publication and circulation of Bibles and testimonies. So in other words, these Protestants and dysenterian preachers, these organizations, got the Bibles and the testimonies, they got a hold of them, then started editing them, writing lies into them. But they had been doing that also before then. But then they started printing this new Bible and testimony. This is what he means by interfering. Okay, that's what he means by interfering. They got a hold of them, made a lot more changes, and started printing them. Okay? at a scale that hadn't been done like that before. All right? So not until that time was an authorized edition of the 4 Gospels ever put forth. Did y'all hear that? Authorized version of the Gospel. What are you talking about? The 1611 King James Bible, right? The authorized version of the 1611 KJV. Are y'all getting context of what was happening back then? They were interferers. In other words, it wasn't their business to begin with. They just jumped in and made it their business. Made their own stuff, Jeremiah 8:8. And then started pushing it through war and re-education programs. Okay? The Christian, for example, remember? The Christian Society for the Promotion, the Society for the Promotion of Christian Knowledge, all their missionary organizations, missionary work, missionary programs with the murder, rape, and theft, land theft, birthright theft. Here they are preaching the Gospels, stealing people's land, raping women and men. And with a straight face, tell you that they are servants of God. with a straight face tell you that you're evil, wicked, a barbarian, but they're holy and pure. White. The landlord of the land. All of this in the name of God. And didn't have anything to do with them. The author is correct. They were interfering. It's not their birthright, and it's not their culture nor their heritage contained in those books. Right? Everybody see it? So the author continues. I always forget when I sit here about the angle of the light coming in. I should have chose a different seat. Let me try to bear through it. Okay, now let's continue. So not till the days of the interference of the Protestants and dysenterian preachers and the publication and circulation of Bibles and Testaments was an authorized edition of the four Gospels ever put forth without representing the four royal beasts, which they are respectively distinguished. Y'all remember this? The lion for Matthew, the angel for Mark, the bull for Luke, and the eagle for John. In other words, Leo, the lion of the tribe of Judah for Matthew, the angel, that would be Aquarius. The angel is a man, right? So the angel or Aquarius for Mark, the bull for Luke, so Taurus for Luke, the eagle for John. The eagle is Sagittarius. But the Protestant priest, the most deceitful of all deceivers of the people. Y'all got that? You know what I really appreciate about this author? He doesn't bite his tongue. He tells it like it is. The Protestant priests, the most deceitful of all deceivers of the people, beginning to fear that the people might acquire enough wit to ask for the meaning of those four royal beasts. What did he just say? They got scared that the people might start using their faculty of critical thinking, asking questions. Well, why are these four beasts on the title page of the gospel? Why? What do these four beasts have to do with the gospel of Mark, Matthew, Luke, and John? What do they represent? Uh-oh. That takes you back to the Zodiac. That takes you back to nature. And they don't want that. So what did they do? So these Protestant, deceitful deceivers of the people, these swindlers, hustlers, gangsters, have swindled away the old title page, this is in 1831, and substituted a title page with only two royal beasts in it. Quote unquote, the lion and the unicorn are fighting for the crown. Y'all see that? And God grant that they may fight for it till they kill each other, and so not a single royal beast be left to worry our lives out for the sake of keeping up this crown of dignity. You don't need to worry about the gospel. This religious book, you're better off without it. It's just a source and cause of worry in its present form. In its present form. I'm not saying throw it out, neither is the author. I'm saying correct it. Correct it. Restore it to its original state. Clear? And to argue for it, to debate, get mad at people, teach this stuff in the Gospels, this historical Jesus, and all of this other stuff, is to give it life. Is to give it life. Is to oppress yourself. Is to oppress yourself, to participate in your own conquest and oppression. Which is what the Gospels, which is what religion is intended to do anyway. To take the fight out of you, to disconnect you with nature, to make you think that if you die, you're going to go burn in hell. Or it's over. It's over, you're gone for eternity. But our ancestors knew that when the fleshly body expires, our consciousness continues. So we were not afraid to die. Many of them also taught that you come back, or you can come back in a fleshly form, whatever your wish is. You can come back again as a man or a woman. Many of our ancestors taught that. So in other words, they were not afraid to die. They were connected to nature, and they could access the Akashic records. They had supreme knowledge and wisdom. Those who choose to focus their life on obtaining it. Okay? And that's what these Christian reorganization programs are intended and designed to do. To destroy that aspect of our culture. To destroy that part of our memory. And to make sure we never activate it and know it and use it. Because once we do, it is their downfall. It is their downfall. They go back to the forest and the caves, and they know it. And these are the people of the forest who our ancestors wrote about. The Neanderthals, the hybrids, the Paleolithic cavemen. These are the people, the orangutans. Y'all look up the etymological meaning of orangutan. It's broader than what you think it is. These are the people of the forest. These are those wild people that our ancestors spoke and wrote about. Especially in Europe in the Middle Ages, because that's where we kicked them out, right? According to our elders, yes, they were created in the Americas by our ancestors, the Elohim, Moorish Americans. Were some of them Raphaim? Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. Right? But our history says that it was Yaqub and 12 12 feminine scientists who worked along with him on that project. And their behavior became so vile and violent that they exported them out of here. Okay, and there is still evidence of these camps where they were created and bred and trained all over the Americas. Y'all search YouTube for Han Uman or half man, half monkey evidence. Han Uman in the Americas. Y'all see all kind of documentaries on this topic. All right. Anyway, let's continue. But now, for what your Protestant priests never dared to trust you with, or never knew themselves, the meaning of all of this. So the author, from here forward, the author is going to identify who the four evangelists are: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. So let's do it. Let's do it. Who are they? Who the hell is Matthew? Okay? Refuse to think what I offer you is sooth and true. As long as you can refuse to think so. The author is saying, hold back, don't agree with him right away. Wait until the very end before you agree with him. This is what he's saying. Hold it back. Withhold your assent. Withhold your assent, withhold your consent, withhold your agreement as long as you can withhold it. Only lend me your attention. Lend me, not give, lend me. Just for these several paragraphs, few pages, lend him your attention. And you shall lend me nothing else but attention. That's all, just attention. I will not borrow your conviction. I'm not going to ask you to agree with me, which is what he means, nor pay it back again. I'm not asking you for anything, so I don't need to pay you anything. Just give this information your attention, your undivided attention. After all, your salvation depends on it. I will steal it and keep it forever. He'll steal what? He'll steal your agreement. He'll steal it and keep it forever. What does he mean? He means that the evidence is so one-sided. The evidence is so convincing that you will have no other choice but to agree, but to assent, but to consent. Thus, sirs, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, whoever or whatever they were divinely inspired. So he concedes that. Yeah, they were divinely inspired. Very well, I suppose they were so. And if they were divinely inspired, they must have had something in them common. They must have had something in them not common to man. Well, that makes sense, right? They're divinely inspired. So something had to be different about them. Otherwise, everybody would be divinely inspired to write the gospel, right? And that's not what they say. It's just these four evangelists. Okay, now he continues. He continues. And if they were divinely inspired, they must have had something in them not common to the nature of man. The divine light shone in them in a very peculiar, in a very distinctive, or a very strange, or a very unique way. But if the divine light shone in them, the divine light must have been less light than the light of the kitchen grease in the paper lantern that illuminates the edge of a Billingsgate sprat bucket. So he's being sarcastic. He's saying, well, if they had any light in them at all, it was a dim light. If they were divinely inspired at all, it was very little inspiration. It was very little divine inspiration, about as much light as the what do they call it? The paper lantern. Paper lantern. Y'all remember back in the old days, they'd have a lantern with a candle in it. And this Billingsgate sprat basket, that's a bucket. It's a bucket. Well, Billingsgate is a location. It's a bucket of fish. Small but highly nutritional fish. Okay, so at the market, he must be talking about at the Billingsgate Market or Fish Market or something like that. There's a paper ladder that lights these buckets of sprat fish. Okay, so you can see them if you want to buy them at night. So it's a night market. Okay, y'all? If it hadn't shown in the wild beast as well as the wild evangelist. So now there's a light shining on the 4 evangelists who are the 4 wild beasts that we just mentioned. Mathew is the lion. Mark is the angel. So Mathew is Leo the lion, the zodiac sign Leo. Mark is the androgynous man or angel Aquarius. Luke is the bull. So Luke is Taurus the bull. And then John is the eagle, therefore John is Scorpio. Okay? So they were also shown with this divine light. Okay, y'all? So let's continue making it do what it do. But if it was a misunderstanding only of the evangelists that were illuminated, the devil's in it, if the 4-footed beasts has not twice, man has 2 legs, a lion has 4, a bull has 4, okay? The eagle has 2. But if it was the understanding only of the evangelists that were illuminated, the devil's in it, if the 4-footed beast has not twice the understanding of a 2-legged beast to be illuminated. 2-legged eagle. Y'all got it? A two-legged eagle. A beast of a man. Hold on, y'all. So let's let that go and keep going. And if it be urged that light is only of use to those who have eyes to see. Well, how about that? Light is only useful to those who have eyes to see. Scholars, Jesus said that he speaks to you in parable. I think it's Mark chapter 4, go read it. He speaks to you in parable so that having eyes to see, you'll never perceive. So that light is really darkness. That light has been converted or perceived to you as darkness. Y'all got it? So when you hear me and others talking about natural law, natural phenomena, the Zodiac, astronomy, astrology, etymology, philology, grammar rules, secular history, mythological history, you may think it's a bunch of garbage and it's insignificant. You may think that I'm talking too much, reading too much, making a big deal out of little details. But you're thinking that because the light that shines has been cursed by Jesus, Matthew chapter 4, making you perceive that light that I'm speaking, that I'm shining, and others are shining, making your eyes perceive it as darkness, as blasphemy. But if it was the understanding only of the evangelists that were illuminated, the devil's in it if the 4-footed beast has not twice the understanding of a 2-legged beast. And if it be urged that light is only for use to those who have eyes to see with or to see it, why then, the more eyes anything has, listen to the logic, the more eyes anything has, the more light it must want. The more eyes anything has, the more light it must want. What if your eyes have been disconnected from your mind so that although seeing, you can't perceive? Now what? And light, metaphorically, even in the Bible, is said to be knowledge and wisdom and the revelation of prophecy. So now your eyes are disconnected from your mind. That means you can't see. The truth can be right there in front of you, shining as bright as the sun. And you perceive it as darkness. You perceive it as evil and wickedness. Wicked. Bucket booty wicked. This is the curse, Mark chapter 4. Y'all go read it. And make sure you look at the reason Jesus gave. And the reason is so that you cannot repent and be saved. Why? Why doesn't he want you to be able to repent and be saved? So that you can't go to heaven. So that you can't make it into God's kingdom. So that you'll die forever. So that you'll burn in hell forever. And ever. You mean forever? Absolutely. Absolutely. Why? So that you will remain in a civilly dead state and be the chattel slave, the bondman and bondwoman for a secret society member who continues to escheat you out of your birthright. Who continues to attorn all your property in your estate, tangible and intangible. That's why he did it, so that the secret society members can live in heaven on earth with resources like you, providing the energy to make their fiat currency flow, providing the labor to make their fiat currency flow. You see that? That's why JC did it. And so that they can have access to as much babies, even infants, neonates. Y'all know the circumcision rite that they do with their mouth? Y'all heard about the pedophilia? Y'all heard? Even JC himself invited a youth to come to his house in the evening with nothing but his jock strap on. I went over that. Laughed about it. That information is in the secret book of Mark. Y'all go back and review the Gospel and the Zodiac. And you'll get that information. Yes. And the youth stayed overnight while JC taught him the mysteries of the kingdom of the heavens. Now y'all know what that looks like. You know what that is. Sound like something very homosexual and pedophilia, like something going down all night. Imagine your woman comes home and finds some teenage boy in your house. Been there all night. Came and he ain't got nothing on but a jockstrap. He ain't wearing nothing but a jockstrap. She asked, where your clothes at? little boy, where are your clothes? And then he points at you and says, he told me to come over here with nothing but a jock strap on. And he was going to teach me the mysteries of the kingdom of the heavens, the mysteries of the kingdom of God. But I needed to come in the evening with nothing but a jock strap on. Now what is your woman going to think when that little boy tells her that you told him to come over in the evening with only a jock strap? What do you think she's going to think? She's going to think that you are bisexual. She's going to think that y'all had sexual relations. Right? That's what she's going to think. Only a fool would not. So this is why JC did it. So that they would have kingdom. So that they would live in the kingdom of heaven. And that's their idea of heaven. Pedophilia, homosexuality, rape, domination, war. And that's why JC said it. That was his intent. That's right, I said it. Go read the secret gospel of Mark. Go search it out in the secret, I think it's the secret book of Mark. Google search it, get the PDF. And now you know why they took that out of the gospel. Because it's clearly homosexual. Javier writes, holla. Oh, hola. Y'all remember back in the day that old John Legend song, holla, holla, holla? I used to like that song. I used to really like that song. Man, that was a long time ago. Anyway, y'all, let's keep it moving. Let's keep it moving. Oh boy. Okay, and if it be urged that light is only of use to those who have eyes to see with, why then, the more eyes anything has, the more light it must want. Y'all should already be thinking about the book of Revelation, right? Now, the four evangelists labored under the misfortune of having but one single pair of eyes. 1, 2 is a pair. So Matthew had a pair of eyes, John had a pair of eyes, Luke had a pair of eyes, and Mark had a pair of eyes. So two eyes, one pair per person. Same thing with the animals, with the wild beast, right? A bull has 2 eyes, an eagle has 2 eyes, a lion has 2 eyes, and an angel or a man has 2 eyes. Y'all see it? Well, let's continue. And those little better, those 2 eyes, little better than buried alive in their foreheads. Okay? All right? But the 4 beasts with whom they are invariably attended, but those 4 beasts who they are or that they are representative of in the Zodiac. See, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John represents the 4 beasts of the Zodiac. The 4 beasts of the Zodiac does not represent Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's the other way around. Radicals writes, Islam brother, hope you are well in warm Vietnam. Thank you so much, Radicals. Yes, I'm I'm cool here, man. Life is good for the most part. Good for the most part. Actually, I wish more of our people had opportunity to come here. And you know what radicals? What I miss? Well, the first thing I missed when I first left the country, years and years and years ago, was the sound of birds in the morning. My whole life, you know, I was accustomed to waking up to the birds chirping in the morning. But when I moved to Europe, no birds chirping in the morning. And it was disturbing, right? But when you move someplace, you get to know yourself better. Because you learn things about yourself that otherwise you would not have realized. Right? And then after that, I missed fried chicken. You know how old ladies cook fried chicken? That's that southern chicken, y'all. I used to miss that fried chicken. I was living in Europe, and like Dr. John Henry Clark said that god awful European cooking. I used to miss a fried chicken, man. Well, I don't know if you're a man. I don't know whether you're masculine or feminine radicals. Okay, your name sounds masculine, but and then after that, I started missing black slang. I started to miss the black slang, and that just blew me away because I had never even been conscious of it. You know what I mean? And to this day, I still miss our dialect of English. I still miss it. So being here, there are people from all over the globe, and I hear all of these different dialects of English, but none of it compares to our dialect, which they call slang and ebonics. None of it compares to it. And then I see people trying to emulate our dialect. But anyway, let me get back on topic. So you took me down memory lane. So anyway, y'all, let's continue. But the four beasts with whom they are invariably attended are described in the 4th of Revelation. These four beasts are described in the 4th chapter of Revelation. Isn't that interesting, y'all? He says Revelations with an S. He says it with the S instead of Revelation. Right? People often mock us for saying Revelations or Matthews. Right? People mock us for that. But here this author is in his writing, he said Revelations. There are so many indications in this book, y'all, that the author, this Reverend Robert Taylor, there's so many indications that I perceive that this brother is a morph, not a hybrid. Okay? So these four beasts with whom Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are invariably attended, are invariably associated with, or who are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, who are Leo, Aquarius, Taurus, and Scorpio. In the 4th chapter of Revelation, all of them are represented as, back to the book, being full of eyes, before and behind, so that they could see their tails. So eyes behind their head. And not only were they full of eyes before, in front of them, and behind, eyes behind them, but it added they were full of eyes within. Within. So what is this, y'all? Full of eyes behind your head, in front of your head, inside. Well, that's all seeing. That's an all-seeing eye. Nothing escapes that eye. That's an all-seeing eye. I hope y'all see that. A most wonderful provision that against their catching the cholera morbus. So he said having all of these eyes is a good defense against catching cholera. So he's being sarcastic. For the moment they felt they didn't know how. In other words, at the moment you feel sick, they had only to look at their own stripes. They only had to look inside of their GI tract, right? Because you get cholera from drinking dirty water. Water contaminated with feces. So they got eyes inside of themselves, so they could look at their stomach, look at their large and small intestine, and see if they see the cholera microbe. And if they see it, they could kill it. Right? Had only to look at their own tripes, that's your GI tract, right? To see what was the matter with them. Cholera infection. Okay, positive cholera infection. That they are the same beast, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, are the same beasts as those whichever accompanied the four evangelists, is defined in the sacred text with the accuracy of natural history, quote unquote. The first beast, says the holy apostle, was like a lion. Well, Matthew is Leo the lion. And the second beast, like a calf. Well, Luke is the bull. A calf is a bull. So Luke is Taurus, the bull or calf. And the third beast had a face of a man. That's the angel. That's Aquarius. And the fourth beast was like a flying eagle. That's Scorpio. Ow. Sorry about that, y'all. I bumped the table again. I did the same thing. I did the same thing last time. All right. So Scorpio is the eagle. Okay, y'all? Clear? Now this is from Revelation chapter 4, verse 7, where the beast, those four beasts are given. So y'all see, they're the same four beasts. Oh, let me read this comment, y'all. Radicals writes, interesting, yes. Hombre Hispano de Borinque, living in South Jersey. When I chop wood for a fireplace, birds around me feeding on the yellow worms that are found between the bark and the tree. It's nothing like having birds around you. It's very calming, relaxing. It's a beautiful thing. I miss the birds. Even here in Vietnam, in these big urban areas, they don't have a lot of birds. Very unfortunate. So let's continue. All right. So y'all see the four beasts that are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John of the Zodiac are the exact same four beasts in the book of Revelation in the 4th chapter. Okay, so these gospel writers are the four beasts of Revelation, which are Those four zodiac signs. Everybody see that? Here we see astrology in the Gospels and in the book of Revelation. And these four beasts were not merely before the throne of God. Uh-oh, y'all. Y'all hear that? These four beasts were not merely before or in front of the throne of God or round about the throne of God. Listen. The four beasts were not in front of the throne of God or any place just around the throne of God. Have y'all heard anything like this before? Let's continue. But the four beasts were in the middle. Mist means middle. But the four beasts were in the midst of the throne. They were in the middle of the throne. That means they were sitting on the throne of God. But they were in the midst. They were in the middle of the throne, where none could be but God. That is, the four beasts, were none other than God Himself. You don't know the meaning of mist? Look it up. You'll see in the middle. Who's going to sit on God's throne? Who is going to sit on God's throne other than God? Let me hear the congregation speak. Give your testimony. Who is going to sit on God's throne other than God? And these four beasts were not merely before the throne of God or around the throne of God, but they were in the midst. But they were in the middle of the throne. That means they were sitting on the throne. The same way, y'all see this chair I'm sitting in? I'm sitting in the middle of the chair. If this chair is the throne, I'm sitting in the midst of the throne. I'm sitting in the middle of the throne. So these four beasts, Leo the lion, Taurus the bull, the angel Aquarius, the eagle Scorpio, these are the cardinal points of the zodiac. Winter, summer, spring, and fall. This is the zodiac, the Maserat. This is the old path that the prophet talked about, where the prophet tells us that the Most High said, return to the old paths. But our answer says, no, we ain't going to do it. We don't want to. So that the zodiac is God. Did y'all hear that? Well, the zodiac is what? Constellations. What are constellations made of? Constellations are made of individual stars, individual suns, S-U-N and S-U-N and S-U-N and S-U-N. Individual suns make up constellations. So according to the book of Revelation, the zodiac is God. Because those four cardinal points, Leo the lion, the eagle Scorpio, Aquarius the man, and Taurus the bull, which represent the seasons and there are zodiac signs between each season, all with their deacons or constellations in their neighborhood, being three. 3 deacons, 3 constellations in the neighborhood of each zodiac sign, for a total of 48. This is your God, according to Revelation. Y'all see that? I didn't make it up. Read Revelation for yourself. The 4 beasts are sitting in the midst. And why do you think they changed? Why don't they use the word middle? Why are they using mist? Because if they use middle, you'd understand that the 4 beasts are sitting on the throne of God, therefore they must be God. Because if they're not God, would God let them sit on his throne? Would it be memorialized in the book of Revelation that 4 beasts were sitting on God's throne if they were not God? Well, that would be misleading, right? So these 4 beasts were none other than God himself. That is the all-seeing God. See, they got eyes everywhere. In the front, in the back, on the inside, the all-seeing eye, the all-seeing God. Who, having to see all things, must of course have employment enough for all his eyes, and indeed for a few more eyes, in order to let some of them get a wink of sleep, while the others are on duty, watching out and looking. But as it is, the holy apostle says, quote unquote, they rest not day or night. Come then, bright science, from thy starry throne, and enable us to rescue the spell-bound, the bewitched, the downtrodden, the enchanted, reason of men from the accursed bondage. Okay, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15 through 68. Your bondage. The Holy See. The Holy See. Catholic, Roman power. The source of Catholic, Roman power. S-E-E-S-E-A. The Holy See. The Holy See. Maritime Admiralty Law. Corporate domination. Corporate concentration of power. Fascism. Christianity. Islam, Judaism, all of them. Re-education programs used by the corporate state, headed up by the Catholic Church, to erase the memory and to punk out all of the autochthonous lords, to punk them out of their birthright, and to keep them in a constant state of subjection. Hope y'all hear it. Come on. Okay. So come then, bright science, from thy starry throne, and enable us to rescue the spellbound reason of men from the accursed bondage of those priestly thieves who preach a gospel to their couched hearers, which they never believed themselves. That's right, your pastors, your generals, your reverends, rabbis, they don't believe the stuff you believe. Most of them are off into Freemasonry, natural sciences, and figuring out how to use it in a negative way to gain even more power over your pocketbook, over your wallet, and your sexual organs. That's what they're doing. They don't believe the stuff you believe. Why do you think they behave the way they behave? And why do you think they can do what they do to you and then look at you with a straight face when they get caught and say, I'm sorry? Because they don't believe it. They know it's not true. They know you are an idiot. How do they know? Because they've been bewitching you from birth. And they made a science out of it. Huh? They made a science out of it. And they know you're not going to do anything. Why? Because you've been trained to accept harsh treatment. You've been trained to respond better when you get dogged out than you do if you're treated with respect and dignity. They know that. They're the ones who've been conditioning you. This is why in the secret treaty of Verona, it is written that the political leaders thank the Pope for what he has done for them in submitting the people. Okay, y'all? So ain't none of them believing what they're teaching you and demanding that you comply with at the threat of eternal death, hellfire and brimstone, torture. They don't believe it. Okay? Which none of them dare trust himself to defend by argument before rational men. Who are these rational men? Men who know the secret, that it's all fake. It all comes out of Egypt, out of Zoroastrianism too, and out of Hindustan or Sindh, India, etc. Even Buddhism. A lot of it's coming out of Buddhism. They know they just took stuff from different cultures and sciences from all over the world, poured it in a pot, and called it Christianity and Judaism. That's all they did. And then personified the natural phenomena to be deities. That's all they did. But you don't know it. And you ain't supposed to know it. Now let's continue. So, they are not able to defend these Christian stories and doctrines to prove that they're not fairy tales against men who know that they are fairy tales. Because once you show the etymology, the grammar rules and the philology, the astronomy and the astrology, the history, secular and mythological, you see very quickly that it's all a fairy tale. And they are just plagiarizers. They are just criminals, knaves, scoundrels, gangsters, liars, deceivers. And which is only kept up in a mockery. So this whole religious thing is kept up. It is a mockery of respect by the terror of their prisons. See, a lot of people who know this stuff, they want to tell you, but they're afraid. They're afraid to be what? Attacked financially, and then attacked by being charged with financial crimes and crimes like pedophilia things that destroy your reputation, and people will automatically think that you're guilty. They've been running this same play for hundreds of years. The pomp of their priest, their braggadociousness, and the bayonets of their soldiers. That's right. Nobody would believe this gospel if they hadn't introduced it through warfare and maintain it through physical warfare, through psychological warfare, through their financial system, and through their Judeo-Christian and Islamic judicial systems. Nobody would believe this garbage. Islam to all the Moors. Thanks everyone for supporting my work. I got links to many of the books that I've written in the description area of this video. So y'all go buy my books, support my work, show some love, make me feel appreciated. Subscribe to the 101 Ancient Ibaryath class, make me feel appreciated. Come to 506 The Curses course every Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make me feel appreciated for all this work I'm doing and knowledge and wisdom that I'm sharing with you for free. And a special thanks to everyone who has contributed, who has donated to my project to write the Book of the Law in Ancient Ibaryath and modern English, showing the etymological meaning of every word from multiple sources and restoring it back to its original pristine state as a book of the law, a book of the natural law. So restoring the astronomy/astrology, the Hermetic laws, and the natural phenomena, and removing all of the Jeremiah 8:8 occurrences. What I mean by that is the lies and deceit. All right, Islam to all the Moors. Shalom, I'm Dr. Yasafa with Zion Law School. I'll see y'all in a few hours.